Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode 3 of the Dream Oracle for You podcast. Today's podcast will be a walking podcast, and so you may hear birds chirping in the background, you may hear the wind, you may hear the highway that's nearby. I apologize for all of this, but hopefully you can hear me okay, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. In today's episode, we are going to recap episode 2, which talked about how to record your dreams and also dream symbols. And then further in today's episode, we're going to talk about a recurring dream theme for me, which has involved cats, and my most recent dream interpretation, which involves sand. So to recap the last episode, if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, do recommend that you go back and check it out. But if not, here's just a little recap. You must record your dreams if you really want to understand your dreams and remember them. Then the key is you have to write them down or record them in some format, whether that is writing them physically down, recording them in your phone, creating a voice note, whatever. And you must do this within 5 minutes of waking up. The second thing that we talked about in the last episode involved dream symbols and how dream symbols are very much personal symbols. What one symbol means to one person could mean something totally different for the next person, which I think is why it's a little hard to generate a more generic dream guide, if you will, or these dream interpretation books. At least that's what I found personally. They didn't work for me. What really helps is to record your dreams, reflect on them, meditate on them, and see what comes to you as you do this. Okay, so we'll get right into the episode. I want to talk about recurring dream themes, and I think I did mention this in the last episode, where if you're not getting a message, like your guides, they try to send you messages through dreams, and if there's a message that you're meant to hear and you don't quite get it, you're going to keep having the same dream over and over. And that is the case for me. I still haven't quite figured out exactly what my guides are trying to tell me. I've got bits and pieces, but still haven't fully unlocked it. I'm going to tell you about the dream first, and then my thoughts on my interpretation so far. So in the last year, I would say I've had at least 3 significant dreams that have involved numerous cats. And in particular, one of the more recent dreams involved, I went into the basement. My house doesn't really have a basement. I mean, we do have it was like, one of those basements is, sorry. It was one of those basements that, you only go down to get a couple things. It's not like a living basement. Anyway, I don't know if that's important or not. Regardless, so I would go in the basement, and then there would just be these cats. There's like 5, 6 cats, many cats. And, this is my house. I'm living in my dream. And it doesn't I didn't understand why there's these cats in the basement, because I have a cat. Her name is Ion. You'll see her picture in this episode. But I didn't understand in my dream why I have multiple cats. And they're not actually mine. It's like I went in the basement and surprise, you have cats. And these cats were neglected. They were hungry. And often in my dream, I end up feeding them and feeling bad for them, wanting to help them. Those are kind of the feelings that come to me when I have that dream. And so I've had 2 dreams where there's been cats in the basement and they've been neglected, they've been hungry, and they've needed, or I felt they needed help. And then this week I had another dream, but instead of it being in a basement, it was a garage. And I went in my garage to get something, I don't even know what. And I go to leave the garage, and as I'm leaving the garage, this cat that I didn't see at first was following me and got behind me and ended up getting trapped in the garage door just a little bit. And it's not your typical garage door that, goes up and down. It was just more of a sliding garage door. And the cat kind of got trapped in the middle. And, obviously in the dream, I'm panicking a little and oh my gosh, I've injured this cat. Oh my goodness. And so I open up the door and let the cat come out. The cat is completely fine, unfazed. It just wanted to come out of the garage. And this is quite interesting. There were 5 cats in this dream. They were all different types. My own cat was there, which is kind of cool to dream about your cat. And there were 2 other tabbies, gray tabbies. One was a male and one was a female. It was actually the female that had got caught in the door. There was an orange tabby and then a gray cat. And this dream has stumped me for the last few days, actually. And also I've been reflecting on previous dreams where I've had cats. I've recorded those dreams. I've gone back. I've read my dream journal entries. And I still can't fully piece it together. But what I have noticed is how I feel in each of these dreams. There's that nurturing aspect, this care aspect that, I want to help these cats. Now, previous dream interpretations, if you were to look up cats in some dream book or whatnot, sometimes you'll see that it'll say that it means feminine energy, which I can kind of agree with. I get the sense that it means your mother-like nature. I wanted to care for these cats. I do enjoy cats, which maybe that's another part of it as well, is the personal connection to cats. That I genuinely like cats. I think they're highly intelligent and they're smarter than we give them credit for. But yeah, this one has completely stumped me. I've been meditating on it and I just haven't. Maybe I'm not ready to know what the message is, which is an interesting concept. As I said, our guides, they send us messages through dreams, and it's up to us to decode them. But perhaps my soul journey is not yet ready to hear, not fully ready for the message of the cats. But I will keep thinking on it. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. So that one, recurring dream theme. Again, this is a message that's trying to come through, but just haven't quite figured out what exactly it means. And I'm still working on it. But last night, I had a dream. This one isn't recurring. It's not really recurring. It happened, and once I woke up and thought about it, I had an idea of what they were asking for, or what they were trying to tell me, rather. And so in this dream, it was kind of weird. I sometimes have dreams and I'm in the town that I grew up in. I've long moved to many different places throughout my life, but sometimes dreams will occur and I'm in a place of my hometown, I guess. Although I don't really consider it my hometown. But in this dream, I was walking in the neighbor next to mine, and a rich family or a couple had moved in to the house next door, and the beach line was somewhat close to their property, and they ended up getting a bunch of sand that they just had shipped in and had mountains of sand in this kind of like nice beach area in front of their house. And I remember walking through their garden and I was so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, sand, it's so soft. It just feels nice to walk on. And they had these giant mountains of sand, like not even a sand dune, like just a mountain of sand. And I was like trying to get, I don't know, a relative of mine. I'm like, let's go climb on the sand mountain. I want to climb on the sand. And we ended up not doing that. There was some reason in the dream that I didn't get to walk on this sand mountain. And that was kind of it for that part of the dream. It then morphed into some other areas that I won't get into in this episode anyway, but it was that sand, that mountain of sand, that really stood out to me. So when I woke up, I decided that I needed to figure this out. The sand was important. Everything else didn't seem important, like the people moving in next door, not important. The fact that they had dumped a bunch of sand, not important. It was just the concept of sand that I knew stood out to me. And as I reflected on it, something came in my mind. And that was the concept of, you think about sand, especially when it's kind of damp. If you were to scoop up a shovel of sand and put it down, it's kind of aerated. Like there's space that you can, there's space between the granules. It's not packed in. And then over time, as maybe just, wind comes, people step on it, whatever happens, the sand will eventually sink down and it would compress or compact. And when I thought about this, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of life experiences. We have challenges that come our way, and sometimes they seem like these giant hills that we can't climb, and it's hard to overcome. But humans are amazing beings, and there's literally nothing that we can't overcome. We wouldn't exist if we weren't able to overcome any challenge that comes our way. And if you think about your life experiences that you've gone through, and you take a step back and you look back at where you were and where you've come, you've overcome so much. But all of those experiences that you've gone through, they weren't for nothing. They help build who you are. They are a part of you. And, even in the beginning, it seems like something you can't overcome. And, that's like when the sand is kind of light and fluffy and, you feel vulnerable and you feel like you just can't get through. But then over time, you get through it. Over time, you get stronger. And this represents when the sand gets compacted. And, it becomes a part of you. It becomes your foundation, if you will. And, I think it's kind of a beautiful thing to think about. Love to know your guys' thoughts on my sand analogy that I was inspired to tell you about from my dream. Is that sand represents our experiences and how it works, and that it's light and fluffy, and over time it becomes foundational and you can keep building things on top and on top and on top. And just like human experiences, they become part of us, and we build experiences on top of others, and our past experiences lay the foundation to help us overcome future experiences, challenges, whatever you will. Okay, so I think that kind of wraps up today's episode. It's a short episode again. As I said, these episodes are going to be under 20 minutes. I try to keep them short. So to recap, we Talked about, again, the importance of recording your dreams, the ideas that symbols are personal to you, and what one symbol means for one person may not mean the same for somebody else, but there are still lessons that we can garner from these. I talked about recurring dreams and how if you're meant to figure out a message that's really important, it's going to come through multiple ways. And if you can't figure it out in the beginning, it's okay. Just, record it and go back to it, keep reflecting on it, and eventually a message is going to come through. Maybe you're not ready for the message. The message will come when you are ready. Which leads me to the final point. Perhaps you need to lay some more foundational work before you're ready for that particular message. And that led me to discuss the concept of sand and how it relates to human experiences. And with that, I just want to thank you all for listening again. It is a pleasure doing these podcasts. I mean, we dream every night, and my dreams have become even more frequent since I started this podcast. So I guess I will have lots of content to come in the future. If you have an idea of something you'd like me to talk about in this episode, please send me an email at dreamoracleforyou@gmail.com. That is the letter U and the number 4, not in that order, of course. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy the channel. And if you have any comments at all on anything I've talked about or things that you want to talk about, I'm always open and happy to discuss dreams. I think they're fascinating. I think there are many life lessons that we can learn from dreams. And I'm hoping that with your help, we'll build a community of dream interpreters, if you will, or just dream discussion in general. I hope you guys have a wonderful day full of love and happiness. And please keep on dreaming.